can't tell if this is good lighting or not. It's very echoey. Okay. I am on my way to the airport. I have OPR 3:45 to 7:45. Fingers crossed that if I do get a trip, I don't get a migraine, because over the weekend, or yesterday, I was battling a little one. Luckily, I was off though, so I didn't have to call out or anything. But I was battling a small migraine due to flying Saturday and Sunday, because it was 3 legs each day, and like I mentioned in last week's vlog, they were 12-hour days. It was 16 hours worth of flying time within 2 days. So yesterday I did end up having a little bit of a migraine. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, so I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, I do have my medications, and I do have my 2 FMLA call out days, just in case the medication doesn't work. I would rather not, because your girl needs to make some money real bad, because there are other expenses with moving that I had not taken into consideration, or I just didn't realize that they were going to be as much as they are. And my wedding in New York next weekend is also probably turning out to be more expensive than what I was originally planning on it being. So I'm very nervous about the next couple weeks. Okay. You guys, it's been a day. It has been a day. Oof. I'm in Los Angeles right now. This trip is a 2-day, and it looked easy. So I'm the extra position. They had to use all 4 of us out of OPR, but I ended up being the extra position. The other 3 are deadheading back tomorrow from Los Angeles to Charlotte, so they don't have to work the trip. I do, because I'm the extra. So I do have to work the trip. Not that it's that big of a deal. It'll make the time go by faster anyway. Our scheduled departure time was 6:05, and we didn't even start boarding until 5:55. Before I get into the rest of the story, let me just say, because I know I'm going to get comments about complaining. Anybody who's ever traveled knows that things go wrong. There are delays, there's weather, stuff happens. I'm telling y'all a story. I started vlogging to give y'all more in-depth look than what you see when you're flying. That means, the good stuff, the bad stuff. When it comes to telling y'all about the bad stuff, it never fails that I get comments about how, this was all complaining, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just telling a story. Just because it wasn't a good thing, because it was, stressful or whatever, people immediately think that it's complaining. No, you can tell a story that's not exactly happy without being complaining. Complaining would be like, me, 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 me. So, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm just telling a story. I'm telling y'all what happened so that you can see more of what a flight attendant is than just pouring Cokes, because it is so much more than that. So it started out that we ended up being super delayed. We ended up sitting on the tarmac for a while because I guess there were some storms in Atlanta. And so a bunch of planes were having to divert or kind of stall. So what they'll do is, as long as they have enough fuel, they'll have them just kind of fly around and wait for the storms to pass, or they have to reroute them in order to be able to land. So there's a bunch of weather around Atlanta, and Charlotte, the airspace are actually really close. It was messing up westbound flights out of Charlotte because all the airspace was clogged up. It was just like a traffic jam, essentially. We had to sit and wait, and then the winds changed. I think we were originally departing northbound, to the north, and then we had to depart to the south. So we had to go from one end of the runway all the way down to the other end. We took off almost 2 hours. I think it ended up being 1:45 or something. And at about 1:35 is when we did a little service. And then we had people, you know, yelling at us about it and being frustrated with us. And it's like, we understand your frustration. This sucks. We know. And then it was turbulent for the first about 45 minutes to an hour, like too turbulent to even take the carts out. Just about the time that we were thinking, like, getting ready to start doing service, I was eating and the other two weren't, and a call bell went off. One flight attendant had already gotten 1 or 2 call bells. So the other one, she goes up there, and we knew that we had a passenger that she had a portable oxygen machine. She was traveling with people, and she had a nurse traveling with her too. Something happened with her machine. So we had this medical emergency in which we weren't able to do service for a while, and I got to the point where I was like, well, I feel like I'm being useless and it's not turbulent anymore. So I started doing drinks out of the back so that I could at least, you know, serve the people that aren't having a medical emergency. And that ended up being a thing throughout the entire flight. It did end up getting to a point where we were able to take the carts out and complete a service and get everybody like food and drinks and whatnot. And then I had a woman throw up. So, because like while the other ones were handling the actual medical emergency, I had a woman throw up. I mean, it wasn't anything serious because she was fine by the end of the flight. I think she probably just ate something bad, or I don't know. It was a long flight. But there were other passengers that were really, it's not that the medical emergency passenger was a pain in the butt. It's just like that was a process throughout the entire 4.5-hour flight. So there was a lot of other passengers that were like, you know, y'all are handling this really well, and thank you so much, and all this other stuff. So that was nice to still be appreciated and be recognized that, yes, we're doing this, but we're also able to take care of all the other passengers that are on board. We land in LA 2 hours late, and then, as y'all saw, my room key didn't work. So I had to go all the way back. I'm going to shower because I feel disgusting because we were on that plane for so long, and go to bed. And then tomorrow I just work the flight back to Charlotte. All right, I'm going to bed. Good night. I love you all. Thank you for listening to my story and not telling me that I'm complaining, because I'm not. Good morning. I slept pretty good, but I didn't sleep as long as I would have liked to. I just wanted to show y'all, I talk about how I do my oatmeal, but I don't think I've ever actually showed y'all how I make my oatmeal when there's no microwave. I'll just use this, and instead of putting a coffee pouch in there, I'll just run the hot water through. So like I'll just put water in, and then it runs it, but because there's no coffee, then it just gets hot water. And then I'll put it in my oatmeal and protein powder and let it sit for a second, because usually, like, I have to put in a lot, but the oats start to soak it up. So I just let it sit here for a second, and it made it a nice oatmeal texture. It doesn't look appetizing, but it is, I promise. And I'm going to put some blueberries in there and eat and pay some bills because I got paid today. Just slowly start getting ready, because I've got to be downstairs in about an hour and a half. Hey guys, what's up? It's Friday. I'm sorry I have been a terrible vlogger this week. I have actually not even really been on YouTube at all. Not even to watch YouTubers. I haven't been responding to comments. I'm sorry. I just have not had the chance to. It's been rough. Wednesday, on the way back from LA, I ended up getting a pretty bad migraine. I was essentially out of commission. I did as much as I could with the services on the flight, and then as soon as I got back home, I just crashed. And yesterday was spent pretty much just recovering, because the migraine lasted into the morning, early afternoon. So I pretty much just laid in bed and did nothing. This morning, I was on call today. Obviously I got a trip, but this morning when I woke up with Keith to make him breakfast, because he tries to be at work by 6, so most of the time when he stays with me, I'll do my best to wake up and make him breakfast, and then I'll just go back to bed when he leaves. I checked what number I was, and I was number 5. So I knew I was going to get used. It was just a matter of when. So I went back to sleep for a couple hours, and got called for a Providencialis turn, which, if you remember, I just did that on Sunday. Luckily, I was the B position again, so I was able to just crank everything out. I already had my system down. It wasn't too bad. We weren't full. We were nearly full on the way down and a little over half full on the way back up, so it was pretty easy. What else do I have to say? I mean, I'm done now. I'm off tomorrow and Sunday. I do have a couple errands to run tonight because Lord knows it's not going to get done tomorrow, because tomorrow is my joint birthday party with my old neighbor, and we are getting started around between noon and 2. I think Kevin, who his birthday was just the other day, I think he said that he was going to be getting started around noon, potentially earlier, but most people aren't going to get to the pool until 2. If I haven't mentioned, what we're doing is like a joint birthday. During the day, we're going to be grilling out at the pool. Well, I guess they're ordering pizzas now. Anyway, so we're doing the pool and food and a little bit of day drinking, and then tomorrow night is going to be just some drinking games and then going to Montford. Just to throw this out there, I am 26. I turned 26 last week, so I am legally allowed to drink. I don't usually get out of hand just because I don't really like being drunk. But it is going to be a good time. I might vlog it, I might not. We shall find out. Yes, so now I'm going to go home, unpack, get changed, run a couple errands, and probably try to go to bed early because I'm definitely not going to be getting any sleep tomorrow. I feel like it might be one of those Waffle House at 3 o'clock in the morning type of night. Hello, and welcome to Baltimore. It's Saturday, June 11th. I clearly have not vlogged all week. It's not because I didn't want to, there just wasn't really anything